Meet the rising British tennis star who, despite standing at just 5 feet 4 inches, has risen from her hospital bed to outshine Raducanu and Boulter. When it comes to making the most of a second chance, Sonri Kartal has few equals. The 23-year-old, a rising force in British tennis who captured the nation's imagination last summer when she reached the third round of Wimbledon as a qualifier, has become a past master in making the most of a reprieve. The most recent example came last week in Indian Wells, a tournament that sits one rung below the Grand Slam events and is regarded by some as the sport's unofficial fifth major. Having lost in the final round of qualifying to Raducanu of the United States, Kartal secured a place in the main draw as a lucky loser, the system tennis uses to plug gaps caused by withdrawals or injuries, and went on to reach the last 16. Kartal's run included the finest win of her career, which came in the second round against Beatriz Haddad-Maia, the Brazilian world number 17 and a former French Open semi-finalist, and although she eventually came to grief at the hands of Aryna Sabalenka, the world number 1, her success demonstrated emphatically that Wimbledon was no fluke. That Kartal was able to prosper on the grass of the All England club was itself something of a miracle, for a scary few months at the start of last year saw her in and out of hospitals with an undisclosed health issue. Again, though, she seized the moment on her return, making light of a lowly ranking of 298th to claim the scalp of Sorana Cîrstea, the 29th seed, in her opening match before losing to Coco Gauff, the second seed, a couple of rounds later. It was an achievement Kartal could never have dreamed of in those dark moments when she was grappling with her health, and it conferred a sense of perspective that has remained with her. Something I'm trying to get better at is reflecting and stepping back, says Kartal, speaking from an airport lounge before flying out to Miami for the second leg of the Sunshine Swing. Obviously, tennis is one tournament straight after the other, the schedule is so full on, so it's something I'm trying to improve on and actually understand that what I've done in such a short space of time is pretty impressive and something that younger me would be pretty proud of. Even if I was healthy, this time last year, I would never have pictured that things would have happened so quickly. It's something I'm super grateful for. Being sidelined for a few months, not knowing where you stand or when you will be back on court, I think that just to be able to be on the court, let alone have the success I've had, gives you a lot more motivation. When I came back, I was itching to play the sport, that much has shown in her results. Last September, Kartal won her first tour-level title at the Jasmine Open in Tunisia, an achievement that propelled her into the top 100 for the first time, a significant milestone for any player. Now, following her impressive showing in the California desert, where victories over the experienced Varvara Lepchenko, Haddad-Maia and Russia's Paulina Kudermetova have propelled her to a career-high ranking of 63, she has the next big milestone in her sights. A goal for me by the end of the year is definitely to be top 50. I'd like to be pretty clear inside that, says Kartal. Last year I did well tournament-wise, winning in Tunisia and Shrewsbury, where she claimed an ITF title in October, things like that. I think if I can end the year inside the top 50, it's something I'll be proud of. Should she succeed, the onus will be on her British contemporaries Emma Raducanu and Boulter, the only two players ranked above her in the domestic standings, to respond. Already Kartal has the 60th ranked Raducanu in her sights, only 14 points separate the pair in the world rankings, and it is notable that she went deeper in Indian Wells than either of her domestic rivals. Indeed, you have to go back to Wimbledon to find the last time Raducanu, the 2021 US Open champion, won 3 straight matches, as Kartal did in Indian Wells. Domestic bragging rights are the last thing on Kartal's mind, however, even in a week when a video of her competing against Raducanu as a 9-year-old has been the focus of renewed attention. Her attritional game style, which entails heavy spin and plenty of running, is naturally suited to slower, high-bouncing surfaces, and Kartal says she is looking forward to the clay court season and a first crack at the French Open, where she has never previously competed in the main draw. The obvious question is where that leaves Wimbledon in the pecking order. Forced to choose, would Kartal prefer a deep run on the Parisian clay or success on the manicured lawns of the All England club? Oh, 100% Wimbledon, without a doubt, she replies, without missing a beat. Clay is a surface I enjoy playing on, but I don't think any player enjoys playing another slam more than their own. Come the moment, there will inevitably be pressure on Kartal to defend the points she earned last year in SW19. but the 65 points she earned from this week's success will alleviate the burden somewhat, as will the growing reservoir of experience upon which she can draw. Obviously, playing your home slam is nerve-wracking as it is, and it never gets easier being a British player, says Cartel. But you just learn to handle it a bit better. I think that's what I did last year, and I think it's something I'm going to continue get better at and more familiar with. The $60,400, £46,667 check she earned for her exploits in California will also help, allowing her to expand a support team that no longer includes her former bodybuilder boyfriend Luke Ogben, with whom she has split. Chief among the personnel requirements for a player who has suffered her share of injuries, last year's medical issues aside, Cartel has previously been sidelined by abdominal tears and a wrist problem that kept her off court for a year, is a traveling physiotherapist. With the prize money and stuff, I'm able to invest that back in myself and create a bigger team, one that's able to travel on the road with me consistently, says Cartel. That's going to help me massively, being able to source a physio that comes with me consistently to tournaments. I think that's going to be a huge advantage that I'm going to have now. At 5 feet 4 inches, a healthy body is a prerequisite for Cartel against opponents who are invariably taller but, given her off-court work ethic, rarely stronger. If the athletic movement that enables her to retrieve seemingly lost causes is redolent of her childhood idol Kim Clijsters, the retired Belgian who won 4 Grand Slam titles and reached world number 1, her ability to disrupt with her spin and heavy forehand are all her own. Unfortunately, I don't have height on my side, says Cartel. But I think as a player you've got to deal with what you're dealt with. I think I can disrupt players in a different kind of way. I'd say I'm physically pretty fast and can get around the court and get a lot of balls. I think you've just got to find ways you can disrupt people's game style. Encouragingly, from a British perspective, Cartel has demonstrated an admirable ability to draw lessons from her high-profile meetings with Gaff and Sabalenka. Her 6-4, 6-0 Wimbledon loss to Gaff, she says, was a chance to learn about her game style. Her 6-1, 6-2 defeat to Sabalenka in Indian Wells, on the other hand, was more about managing her emotions and the magnitude of the occasion. It is a sure sign that Cartel is evolving in the right direction. What often eludes the casual viewer who might look at those scorelines and wonder what all the fuss is about, is that tennis is a game played more between the ears than between the lines. The shift in Cartel's focus from the tactical to the mental speaks of a player who knows she has the tools to compete with the best, and is now seeking the right mental and emotional formula to get the most from her game. The match against Coco was more learning about my game style, but I think, facing Sabalenka, was more about all the internal emotions that a big match brings you, says Cartel. It was definitely something that I dealt with a lot better, and I guess that just comes with playing more matches against bigger opponents, on a bigger stage, in a bigger round. When you play the number 1 player in the world, other matches I imagine are going to be much easier to handle emotionally in terms of nerves and so on. Not for the first time, Cartel is reaping dividends from a second chance. It will be fascinating to see where it takes her in the coming months, starting with next week's Miami Open.